Hi, my name is Kevin, and I collect old irons. Kate and I are en route from Nebraska back to Maine, visiting a couple of iron collectors along the way. And today I'm in north suburban Chicago. We are visiting the Horbals, Jack and Carlin. Jack is the collector, Carlin is the facilitator and off camera. So Jack, how long have you been collecting irons?
Oh, about 7 years or so.
That short?
That short.
And you've been president of PICA in the meantime too.
Yes, I had the honor to serve as president for a year. I stepped out of my envelope of comfort, and I had a wonderful time with wonderful people, and it was a lot of fun.
Can you show us your favorite iron?
This, hands down, has to be my favorite iron. It comes from my native Poland. It's a slug iron, also known as an ox tongue iron. They're quite common, but in Poland they have a much more poetic name. They are called irons with a soul, S-O-U-L. The concept being that here's an inert, cold, functionless piece of metal, and until the warm soul enters it, gives it function and purpose, then it becomes a whole useful thing, pretty much like ourselves.
So Jack, the first question all of us have to face so often is, what was your first iron?
This right here was my very first iron. I bought it at a garage sale. It came in a box of apple peeler, a cherry pitter, and a couple meat grinders. And I was so naive at the time, I looked at it and I commented to Carlin, "Oh, look, an early steam iron. You put water in a tank and it made steam." Little did I know, and that was the beginning of my collecting passion.
And I might add that this is his first iron, but subsequently what Jack has done is he's bought a couple of more of the same design. These actually have different company markings on them. They have some differences in the tank and the sides, but they're very much representative of a design that has a long history, and that's one of the things that gets us interested in irons is that it's not an individual, it is part of a lineage.
And it turns out that this particular iron has led to my focus of interest in liquid fuel irons.
Correct. To begin, this collection started with definite limits. And by limits, I don't mean limits as to types of irons. Jack and I both collect quite a range of irons, with a particular heavy emphasis on liquid fuel irons, displayed alphabetically by company. Here are the American and Coleman, and there's a lot of Coleman irons. We can go across to the Comfort, Gem, Ideal, Imperial, Monitor, and across again to the Radiant, Royal, and this is just a short list. There are also many electrics, detachables, maybe 300 irons altogether. But as I said, the collection has a limit. Carlin, the spouse, has limited the collection to the basement. So this collection has not done as so many iron collections have done, which is irons that take over the entire house, followed by the back house, the shed, the garage, and so forth. This is a very important decision, and one that a collector and spouse should make early on. We have seen collections that have too many irons without room or adequate display. It is important to have a focus and have limits to your collection. Or as Jack says, he owns the irons do not own him. This collection, all in one place, works very well, and there is room for more shelving. The shelving, by the way, is IKEA, units screwed together and bolted to the wall, with dowels inserted to keep the shelves from sagging, and this too works. We also have a rotating bookcase adapted for trivets. Note the kerosene stove on top with a sad iron heater, and there's a good library. Every collection, whatever is being collected, should have a library. There should ideally also be a cataloging system, and Jack uses a very simple system. He has them numbered in chronologically the order of acquisition. This flat iron is number 8. This flat iron is number 437. He also has an independent categorical system that he uses in his notes. So this would be a certain category for flat irons. And the numbers themselves are positioned on each iron in, using nautical terminology, the port stern, that is to say the left rear side. So how does this work? Yesterday in Iowa, I bought this interesting hat iron, and we're going to take this through the classification system, Jack.
So my last iron that's in my system is iron number 586. So this one will be 587. This is a hat iron, so I have a classification guide that I modified, and that will be designated as H for hat iron. I will also describe the initials carved in a handle and hammered into the top of the iron. I place it down and draw an outline of the iron. The iron gets weighed on a scale. The iron gets measured. And then also, if it comes with a price tag, I save the price tag. I document purchased from, when, location, price, measurement, weight. I draw a side view of the iron, and then as I do research, I'll add documentation to this, and this is the paper copy which later will be transferred to the software. Also, the number is assigned. I use a printer like this. I like clear tape with numbers. Cut the numbers and peel off the adhesive backing, and you can stick it on the iron, and it keeps them nice, and the numbers are there, but they don't glare at you.
So why might you do this? First of all, you're recording information about the collection and learning more about these pieces that you have, but also here is an insurance record. And let's also understand that we are mortal. Someday these collections will be dispersed, and the information about each piece will make the selling much easier for your spouse or family. But of course, all this is old school. Now you can take this and put this in a computer database. And Jack, I understand you have been working on this for a while.
Yes, initially Carlin set up an Excel file for me where I put all my irons into it, and then subsequently I wanted something a little more with some more options, so I started asking around and got a great recommendation from a fellow collector up in Canada, and he recommended I look at Recollector software, and I acquired. It's not expensive. It's about $50. It's quite versatile. Free trial is available.
And we will include a link in the description.
Great, and you can put many collections at the same time on this. So if there are multiple collections in a household, you can use it obviously for more than just irons. Carlin was gracious enough to photograph each iron. We haven't uploaded the photos into Recollector, but that can be done. It's quite versatile because you can put it on a thumb drive. You can carry the thumb drive with you when you go to conventions or auctions, and also acts as a great backup if something is happens to your original file. And it's easy to use even for an old fart like me, and there isn't a great learning curve, and I'm very happy with it.
Thanks a lot for joining us. I thank our host, Jack. I've learned a great deal myself. For the rest of you, please do give a comment, a thumbs up for the algorithm on YouTube, and we will see you again. Thank you.